Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to Marvel-ous Movie Mondays. It's an eventful week because we're getting another episode of Hawkeye. We just got an episode of Hawkeye. Can't think of any other reason this would be an eventful week. Kelsey, how are you doing today?
Hmm, what else is coming up this week? Should we even talk about
Not
it?
Guillermo del Toro's got a new movie, Nightmare Alley. Guillermo del Toro directed Blade 2. There's your little there you go. That's a new movie coming out this week.
That is exciting because that
Yeah.
movie looks very good,
Yeah, it's a
and it's a
big release.
star-studded cast, so
Yeah, that's a pretty big release coming Thursday.
very
So
exciting.
everyone's gonna be flooding to the theaters to see that, I bet. Anyway, Kels, how are you doing? Do you have any news this week? Anything big to share?
Nothing too crazy. Last week, I informed everyone about the Daily Bugle TikTok that I
That's
started
right.
following, and they posted a new TikTok. This time, it not only featured Betty Brant, but it also featured Ned Leeds, and
Mm,
it's quite funny. They don't
okay.
reveal anything major regarding Spider-Man No Way Home or anything like that, but
Oh,
they
Kels,
do.
you weren't supposed to name it.
I
That was our
know,
rule
I
we made
said
last
the
week.
the movie that shan't be named, I know, I talked about it, but I feel like I couldn't avoid it. I'm talking
Yeah, I know.
about 2
Yeah,
characters
you're right.
from the movie. It was
Mhm.
unavoidable at this point,
Alright.
but they do a funny bit where, Betty asks Ned, "When is an appropriate time to text your ex-girlfriend, like, in the middle of the night?" And Ned is just, like, left speechless, so
Hmm,
it appears that maybe one of the side plots of the movie that shan't be named, could be some tension between these 2 characters. I
yeah,
wasn't left under the impression with how we left Far From Home
right.
that they were on bad terms. They were like, "Oh, it was a mutual breakup. We've both grown. This
Yeah,
is just who we are now." But now it seems like, I don't know, Betty might be kinda mad about the
I don't know.
breakup. Who knows?
Yeah, I
Or
mean
Ned's missing her. Who knows?
right. I mean, every breakup that's mutual, I would say rarely they actually are mutual. I feel like
Mm,
always someone's a little bit thrown off and like, yeah, no, I agree, we should do this, but I don't know. Every mutual breakup
sure.
I've been in, yeah, sorry to like open a door to my life, but every mutual breakup I've been in has mostly been for the most part not mutual, and mostly on the most part, like, not on my end either. So anyway, let's
Oh, I'm
get
sorry about
into
that,
my
Joe.
news.
Do you wanna
Is
talk
well,
about it?
I don't want to talk about that, but I want to talk about my news because it is an uplifting
Sure.
story to segue. No, I'm fine. I made it. I actually am very very close. Luckily, with a lot of my the people I've dated in the past. So like I'm very grateful for that. That I have great friends that stem from relationships because you spend so much of your life with someone. You cherish that time together. I mean, to just scrap it and delete it all and say
Mm,
it's over, it's over. Unless it's like a toxic relationship, I get that. But like if it actually meant something and there were just other reasons you had to break up for any other plethora of reasons because there's always something. But no, yeah, I have a different outlook on that. But anyway, um, my
good for you, Joe.
uplifting news. This was actually like so uplifting. I cried when I read it, so I'm gonna paraphrase it so I don't cry again. This actually dropped on November 30th, so it's kind of old news at this point. But I don't think we've talked about it. I don't think anyone's talked about it. Rochelle. Rishiel Gudka, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. He is a physio assistant. Don't know where he lives or anything. Doesn't give any of that detail. But he wrote an article about how Deadpool saved his life. And I was looking at this article. It was very
Mm,
interesting. He talks about how back when the movie came out, Ryan Reynolds did like a clip because obviously Deadpool was facing a cancer diagnosis in the film, and he makes like a video
mm,
encouraging men to tweak your tomatoes, is what he said. Regularly check for lumps because it was just some promo they were doing, and I guess it was also a comedic thing because it was Ryan Reynolds, but it was also like a PSA, like, hey, men age 15 to 35, that's the prime age where not obviously, men get testicular cancer. That's so he made that video, and apparently this guy said he didn't even have any symptoms, but there was something alerting me that there was nothing alerting me that there was anything wrong. But then I watched that video and I said, I should get it checked out because you can catch cancer very early, and he did, and he had cancer in his testicles. So he was able to
wow.
watch a not even like anything in the movie, but like just a promo video that Deadpool did, Ryan Reynolds did, to get checked for cancer, and he did, and he got checked, and he's cancer free. So I just read that. I was a very emotional read because I was like, wow, like the whole thing about like superheroes are just superheroes in the movies. It's like not really. The superheroes stand for something else, and Deadpool especially is not. I would consider like the holiest of superheroes, but
Totally.
he made a difference in that guy's life. So it's pretty awesome story. So I just figured I'd share that like as a fun bit of news because it's very different from any of the other news we're talking about. Because
Yeah,
really the
totally.
Marvel news is what everyone is making. You know, it's all the theories about a movie that's coming up. I forget when it's coming out, maybe this Thursday. But yeah, like every news I see is about that, and I was like, I want to separate it. I want to go for something else. So that was my bit of news
Yep.
that I found. So very fun news. But
Thank you for sharing, Dill. That's
yeah,
great for
so
the holiday season.
I will use this to say if you are aged 15 to 35 male, or if you do not identify, but you do have, those body parts and, you notice anything unusual, even if you don't, get a checkup, just check it out. Same as if you're older, above the age of like 35, get your colons checked, colonoscopy. Could have saved Chadwick's life, unfortunately. And, lots of people I know personally have gotten colonoscopies to check and have had their lives saved because they, just got ahead of head of the I don't know what to say. Head of the train? I don't know. I don't know the phrase, but like they
Sure.
got ahead of it, and that's big. Didn't mean to get all deep and sentimental today.
Yeah.
This is already
Get
twice
your
where I have.
parts checked.
Get your parts and women too.
Save a
I mean, I
life.
I can't speak on it because I don't know what the process is, but I'm sure, the women also have to just get their
Get your
parts
pap
checked.
smears,
Yes.
get your
There it is.
mammograms,
Yep.
all that good stuff.
Yeah, we love you, doctors. Thank you. And especially, with COVID and everything going on, you got to think about all the other people that are looking out for the other things, like, the common influenzas and the, pneumonias and, all this stuff, like cancers and all this stuff. Like, there's so many other doctors, not just working on COVID, working on so many other things in the midst of
Mhm.
still COVID. It's really great. Anyway, we're 7 minutes in. Let's talk about the episode we're here to talk about, which is Hawkeye episode
Mhm.
4. We've got 2 left. How is that
Episode
possible?
4.
We are
I
almost at the
didn't
end.
even realize we had only 6 episodes. I thought we had at least, like, I don't know, like 9 or 8, but
Nope.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a quick
because I
one,
I think
this
WandaVision was
series.
9, was Falcon and the Winter Soldier 6, and
I
then
think it was
Loki was
6.
8. Yeah, so there you
Yeah.
go. We're rearing the end, and it's getting juicy. It's getting exciting. So, Kels, why
An
don't you just take it away? Yeah.
exciting one this week. Yeah,
Yep.
so, Hawkeye episode 4, Partners, am I right? That is the title of our episode. Let me
Mhm.
get to my summary. With the help of Laura, Clint's wife, Clint gathers more information about the tracksuit mafia and the artifact they have from the Avengers compound. Upon Eleanor's request, Clint tries to do everything he can to keep a very stubborn Kate out of danger.
Cool. And yeah, you opened it with Laura, and I love that just off the bat that Laura is becoming a bigger part of this. She's not just the mother
Mhm.
of the kids. She's not just a wife at home. She's actually getting a little bit of a purpose, and I'm excited to see if there's anything more coming with her. I have my theories, but yeah, she's been great just in the MCU. But I'm liking how she's been more involved. Because
Mhm.
I at first because you said you were like, why isn't she with them in New York City with the kids? And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. But I like how they're still making her a part of it and not just like this plot device of, oh, he's got to get home for his kids and wife, but actually like using her as like this other source of information to help him. Yeah, take it away, Kels. Beat by beat breakdown of the plot, and we'll talk about stuff we liked and maybe some stuff we didn't. I mean, I've been generally very positive on the show, but there might be some things that come up that we don't like, but we'll talk about it when we get there.
And also, just having Linda Cardellini,
Yeah.
uh, involved is just always a delight. She's
Oh
just
yeah.
another one of those actors that she just pops up here and
She's
there,
in
and
everything. Yeah.
I'm on board. I'm
Yeah.
on
What's that
board.
show? What's that show on Netflix she's in? The
Dead
one
to
with.
Me,
Yeah. Is that good? Have you
Christina
seen it?
Applegate.
Yeah.
I haven't
I,
seen it, but I
okay.
am very intrigued. It's one of
Yeah.
those where I'm just like, I keep meaning to get around to it, but
Mhm.
the more Marvel puts out, the more it has a chokehold on my
Yeah.
life because
Yeah.
it just, takes
Yeah.
over because I have
Yeah.
to take notes and
Yeah. No,
and
I'm a
and
big
do
fan of
all
hers.
this, so
Yeah. I mean, I was a fan of hers
but a
from a young
big
age.
fan.
Scooby
Yeah.
Doo, Velma, and then
The
even
Scooby
recently.
Doo.
Yeah.
There will never be a more iconic Velma than Linda
Mhm.
Cardellini,
Yeah,
for
but she's
sure.
popped up in other stuff too. I mean, she was in Brokeback Mountain. She popped up in. She was in
Mhm.
the one that won Best Picture, Green Book. She was a wife in Green Book. Like
Mhm.
she's really popping up in a lot of things, and she's always great. So
And New Girl.
Give Laura her own. Well, Linda and Laura her own. Oh yeah, New Girl that too. Um,
Jessica Day's sister.
yeah, give her own story. Give her own movie. Come on, guys.
To be brave. Do it. Okay, so scene 1.
Oh wait,
We
what if they did like a Real Housewives Marvel and like had it was about like Pepper Potts, about Laura Barton, like all these other like and maybe like Wanda pops in there, but Wanda's different because she's like a super, but like you have like Pepper and Laura be like the two leads, and then you can have like Rachel McAdams' character from Doctor Strange in it. You could have even
That's
Zendaya in it. Like that'd be a cool show, you know?
That'd be like a cool spin-off, yeah. I
And
feel like
you
that's a
shoot it
bit.
like
That's
a
definitely like a
reality show.
comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. I like oh, wow, I might be
Still,
honest.
I think you're onto something here.
I'm
I
gonna
think you
write
need
a
to
letter to
write to
Marvel
Kevin
right
Feige
now.
right now. You need to
I'm writing
write
a
that
letter to
down. That's a
Marvel.
good bit.
I am, yeah.
I'm
Even if
almost
we don't
obs
send it to Marvel, like, maybe we film our own
maybe
Real
we should just
Housewives of
do it
Marvel,
ourselves.
and you can be whoever you wanna be, and we'll cast people as, like, the I'm writing it down. Cast real people as the other roles. Okay, cool. I love it. I'm sending it to Marvel tomorrow morning. Continue, Kel. Sorry, I've interrupted you too many times.
No, no worries. That's fair. That's a fair interruption. I will excuse that one. So we pick up right where we left off in the penthouse. Jack has pulled the sword on Ronan. Eleanor appears. She's like, "What the heck's going on? What's an Avenger doing in my living room?" They sit
Fair.
down to talk about exactly what Kate and Clint are doing together. Eleanor informs us that she did get an alert that her account was logged into. Kate takes this fun moment to refer to Clint as CB1, which I think is just like Clint Barton 1. And he's like, no one calls me CB1. Like, it's just a very, like, there's a lot of playful energy happening in this
No.
scene. And essentially, what we gather from all of this is that Eleanor, as she's walking Clint to the door, he wants her to promise that he's not going to involve Kate any further in the mission or whatever it is they're doing together because she can't handle losing her husband and her daughter at this point.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
I did call it last week that I thought it was a fake out. You know, everyone was like, "Oh, is Jack's a villain?" I was like, "No, he's just
mm,
like reacting as any normal person would if they heard someone broken into their house." And I like how it immediately was like just kind of like, "Oh, what's going on? Like everything's cool, everything's normal." I still think there's
yeah,
something up with those two, especially Eleanor, but we'll get there when we get
for
there.
sure. As we've learned some information this episode. Things are not looking great for Jack.
Right.
And without even realizing it, she does kind of throw Natasha's death in his face, like, yet again. It just
Yeah.
keeps happening time and time again
Mhm.
with him in the series, and it's just
Awful.
something he's having an ongoing battle with. So she says Natasha Romanoff was pretty good, and it wasn't even good enough to keep her alive. So, like, don't involve my daughter in anything
Mm.
else.
Yep.
Clint stealthily steals back the Ronin sword. And he asks Laura to look into the Sloan Industries, the business that they realized that Kazi was working for in the last episode. And we see Eleanor make a mysterious phone call to someone. We don't get much information though, but I think your
I
hunch
think
from a few episodes ago, Dill, was on the right track.
mhm. Yeah, no, wait, what's that Disney movie with the lions? The lion
Prince? Wait.
no, the lion with Mufasa, the lion.
Oh. Oh, King. King.
Yes, yes, that's right. What do you when you want to save something for later, you put a what in it? You put a something in it. You put a
Ooh, 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 I know this one.
mhm.
Pin.
Oh yeah, okay. You put a pin in it. Okay. Anyway, keep going, Kelsey. Sorry, I
Do
just
you
had to ask those
think
questions.
the Kingpin, Kingpin in this universe is a woman? And do you think it's
Oh,
Kate's mom?
oh, you think she
Any
is?
We'll
Oh,
get into theory
okay.
talk at the end. We'll
Oh,
get into
okay.
theory
Yeah.
talk at
No,
the
we're
end.
getting the theory talk definitely. Okay, cool. Okay. Because there's also some
So,
news that Kevin Feige released that we didn't even talk about that like could also tie into this. So yeah, we'll talk.
we'll talk.
We'll talk.
So we learn in the next scene that Jack DeQuan, I don't know his last name. I'm not even gonna pretend that that's what it is. We learn in the
Duquesne,
next scene.
maybe.
Duquesne? Is it
I don't
Duquesne?
know. That
It's
sounds like
not
a more
DeQuan.
common last name. It's not Dickwan.
That's not what I said. I'm
You
sorry
were
if
like
that's what it sounded
Dickwan.
like
I
I
don't
said.
know.
It's more French. It's very
Okay.
like, it's French.
Okay.
He's the CEO of the Salone company
Yeah.
that it's a front for the tracksuit mafia. We learn all
Mm,
of this from Laura, who very sneakily knows Russian. She just starts speaking Russian to Clint over the
Hell yeah.
phone. It just
I
seems like, after all these years of being married to a spy, maybe some things have rubbed off on her.
I tell you,
Um,
she is a cool gal.
and then they find out that the whole thing that the Tracksuit Mafia is after, from the Avengers compound is the watch that
Yeah.
we saw that in the first
Mhm.
episode.
So I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think this watch is about? I mean, I know like that's kind of goes into our theory talk, but like, do you think there's like, what do you think is behind the watch? Do you think it's just like, like what's up with the watch? Because
I
people have been asking me like, what do you think's up with the watch? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just
Still, I
I
wrote
don't
down
know.
later on at some point, like,
'Cause Clint
later,
mentions
maybe
it,
in
right?
the last scene, I literally write down, "Am I supposed to know whose watch this is? Am I
No, we
supposed to,
don't
like"
we don't know.
I
I
don't think
think
we
it's
know.
I think it might be Laura's. I think there might be
You
something
think she's,
about
like, in
Laura.
on this?
Like, I think there might be something about Laura that we don't know about in her past because, like, she seems so in tune with it. Like, she knows the Russian, you know? I immediately was like, oh, maybe it's
Mhm.
hers. I really don't know. There was a huge bug crawling across my screen. I am going to not kill it, but I'm going to get it off my screen. I'm going to close myself out, and you're going to continue doing the recap because I need to get this off or I'm going to flip out.
Are you
I'll be
still gonna
back.
be able to hear me?
Yes, I will still be able to hear you. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm about to scream, so yes, I
No,
need to
I
turn myself
understand.
off.
Take care
Okay.
of the bug. I would already be screaming right now if I were you, Dill. So the fact that you just handled that with such poise, I'm impressed. Honestly, I would love for Laura to be more involved in whatever aspect of it is she's in, but I do think that this defeats if it's her watch, if she's somehow more involved than we think she is, than we thought that she was in Clint's life and in Clint's, work with Shield and everything, I feel like that almost defeats the whole point of Avengers Age of Ultron because they live in a secluded safe house. No one is supposed to know about Clint's family, wife, the kids, none of that. Like no one knows. The only person that knows is Natasha. And it's because he wants to do everything to keep them safe. The whole reason why he's still in New York tracking down the Ronin suit is to keep them safe. And the fact that they're kind of teasing that she might be involved, I'm nervous then it's like, well, then why was the whole family kept secret to begin with? Do you know what I
Mm,
mean, Dill?
yeah, no, I agree. I haven't seen Age of Ultron in a while,
I
so
feel like
yeah,
I'm just
but I
saying, like,
agree.
the whole point of it is that they had this safe house to go to was because he had this secret family, and I
Mhm.
feel like if she's involved in his, like, spy life, then I feel like that's something very out of character for Clint to allow because he wouldn't
Maybe
want his
it's
wife getting mixed
maybe
up in
it's
all
like
this.
an Elastigirl, Mr. Incredible thing where they used to be like supers or whatever, and then like they kind of like wanted to settle down and have a family, so they kind of went into seclusion and maybe changed their names. Maybe her name wasn't Laura Barton. Maybe it was like something else.
Mm,
Maybe it was like
interesting.
Watch Lady, you know? I don't know.
Okay, the
Miss Minutes.
Watcher.
Oh, yeah, the Watcher,
Oh,
Miss
we
Minutes,
both
and
went in
Watch
2
Lady
different
are all
directions.
yeah, okay. All right. Okay. I did any excuse to get Miss Minutes back is good by me. So like I hope in the next episode we get like a commercial for the Rolex watch and it's like Miss Minutes being like, buy your watches. Because
Honestly,
she is
as
my
soon as
favorite.
this watch was mentioned, the first thing I thought of was the commercial for the watch in WandaVision when they were like,
Mm,
stop
good
time
point.
or whatever, and it had the little, Hydra logo on it
That's
and
a good point.
everything. That was the
Yeah,
first watch I thought of, and I was like, "Well, that
that's a
can't be
very
it,"
good
because
point.
that was like a made up watch and a made up
Right.
reality that Wanda created. Um, and as much as we are suspicious of Jack and Eleanor, we do get this very adorable scene where the whole point of it is really for Kate to realize just how happy they are together. They're
Mhm.
dancing, they're singing together. At some point, she even says, like, I've never even seen you like this, mom. Like, you look so happy.
Right.
And we do notice that Jack, because his first language might not be English, it's probably French, he does get a lot of quotes wrong. He says to them, "Life is short, you never know what you're going to get," which is obviously a mix up with of the Forrest Gump quote
Right.
about life is like a box of chocolates.
That's great.
And he also says, absence makes the heart grow
Older.
older
Yeah.
instead of fonder. And it's just a cute little laugh moment they
Mhm.
have together. It's just making him look so sweet and innocent, you know? I
Yeah.
feel like they're trying to throw us off the scent. I feel
Well,
like
I
it's a
think
red herring.
because we find out what we
Or
find out
maybe
this
it's a double
episode too,
bluff. I
I
don't
think it's
know.
a double bluff. I think it's more to, like, humanize him because they are trying to make you think he's the villain, and by doing this, they're, like, saying, "Oh, you're still in for it. He's still gonna be the villain," and it bait and switches, and it's her. I thought it was
Mm,
been her from the beginning. I mean, obviously, he's involved in some facet, but she might be using him, and he might not even be realizing really what he's up to. Like, she might have ulterior motives, and she's just like, "Get the watch, get the sword." And he's like, okay. And then when he gets a watch and the sword, she's the one who takes the sword and kills whatever his name was in the first episode. Like, I feel like she's the
Armand.
one who's like, get me this, get me that. But like, he doesn't really know why, but she's the one who has the motives of like what she's going to do with everything. That's
Mm.
where I'm at right now. But again, like, I'd like to be surprised. If it's neither of them, cool. But I don't see that happening. But we'll see.
We shall see. So they start talking about how much it's so nice to be with your family during the holidays. This obviously makes Kate think about Clint and how
Right.
he's probably missing his family. So she heads over to her aunt's apartment where he's posting up with some decorations, pizza, and obviously pizza dog. Um,
Yeah.
so she brings movies because he's supposed to be having the movie marathon with his children. Um, Clint fills her in on all the information that he found out about Jack, which is obviously upsetting her more than usual because she's like, "Oh, now I'm gonna have to like take down this guy, even if he's making my mom super happy. This
Right.
is just not gonna be fun."
Hmm.
Um, they decide two things. They have to figure out how to get more trick arrows because that will definitely be helpful in their quest to figure this all out,
Right.
and they need to get the police off her back. They need to, figure out the Ronin thing. They need to figure out the Tracksuit Mafia thing. They have a lot on their plate.
Yeah.
Um,
For 2 more episodes, they've got a lot on their plate.
they've
Yeah.
got a lot to wrap up
I
here.
before you
S-
move on, I just had to mention
Yeah.
the DVDs. I've never seen such obvious product placement as putting
Mm,
Tim Allen's a Santa Claus front and center, like, "Oh, guess what's on Disney Plus? Tim Allen's a Santa Claus," and I'm like, "Okay."
yeah.
But I just
And
thought that
it's
was
good
funny because
because
I could tell
they can,
Polar Express was
yeah.
somewhere in that pile. I recognized the
Hmm.
DVD border, but you never saw the logo, never saw the picture, never saw, and I was like, "Yeah, they're putting the Disney one front and center," which makes sense, but it's just funny
Yeah.
because it's, like, so obvious product placement, but, it's funny.
Listen, I fully expect it from Disney. They
Yeah.
use their own stuff all the time
Mhm.
because they
Yeah.
just can. They can
Yeah.
afford it.
No, I know, it's
They
all in the
own
same
it.
place. So, yeah.
Oh, so then, uh, oh, Clint shows her some fancy little trick that they can use to, they like snap this like ornament that's kind of the size of a quarter, and he's like, I'm able to knock someone out by doing this. Uh, he teaches Kate how to do it. And then they're having a little heart to heart moment where Kate asks him, "What's the best shot you ever took?" And Clint says, "It's the shot that I didn't take." And she's like,
Mm,
"Well, what does that mean?" So then we go into the whole when Clint saw Natasha'S story and he realized that even though he was sent there to take her out, she really wanted to get out of the lifestyle that she was in. She didn't want to be a Black Widow anymore. Clint could see that in her, so he didn't take the shot. She was able to be a changed woman, work for Shield. We know how the rest of the story goes.
yeah.
So then Kate
Deep.
realizes two things in this moment. And also a fun little thing that I'd like to include is that they are watching It's a Wonderful Life in the background of this scene,
Yes, they
just to
are.
add to
Yeah.
the emotions and
Yeah, not a
all the
Disney
warm and
property,
fuzzies.
but still,
But
a good movie.
still,
Still a great one.
exactly. So Kate realizes two things. She realizes that Clint must have lost his family in the blip, and that's why, he's being so grateful, and he's really taking advantage of the time that he can spend with them now because he didn't have them for 5 years,
Mhm.
and that Ronan must be him because he knows too much about Ronan. He's way too attached to this case. And obviously, he says, like, everyone handled the blip differently. And that's how I handled it. I'm pretty sure at some point, I don't think it was this episode, maybe last episode when he went off on the tangent about how, like, he's been trained to hurt people. He's been trained as like a
Yeah.
weapon.
Yeah.
Like, that whole speech, it's like, it's
Mhm.
never been about helping people, it's about, like, going after the right targets, like,
Mhm.
that's been
Right.
his outlook on himself, and that really, really said a lot about him. I feel like I should have mentioned that last time, my bad. So then as Clint is falling asleep, he's having some flashbacks to his time on Vormir, and we all know how that ended up. So I don't even wanna it honestly, Dill, I was rewatching these moments, and I really sat there in theaters and I was like, "Well, I'm not even gonna mourn this death because there's no way Natasha's actually dead." Like, like, Vormir happened. It was, like, midway, or it was probably, like, more than midway, but,
It's
it
right
was
actually, it's funny because it's right at the almost at the 3rd hour mark because I remember watching it on Disney Plus. At the hour mark is when they start the time heist, and at the 2-hour mark is when Hulk snaps. So, it's like
okay.
there's, like, 3 perfect acts. It's, like, everything before the time heist, then the time heist itself and getting, back and then realizing Natasha's dead, mourning that, and then the whole last hour and, like, 6 minutes is the whole battle slash Iron Man's death. So like Black Widow's death, I
Mm,
would say happens maybe 10 minutes before Hulk snaps because they mourn her, and then Hulk's like, "All
yeah.
right, I got the glove," and then snaps. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's 2 hours in.
So, yeah, that and then that happens, and I didn't even, like, mourn that death, like, everyone was, like, heartbroken over Natasha, like, I feel like everyone walked out obviously being like, "No, Iron Man," but, like, everyone else was
Was
going,
expected.
"But, like, what about Natasha?" And I was like, "What
Yeah,
about Natasha? Like, she's fine, she'll be
she
back,"
has her own
and
movie
she's
coming out. Exactly. Yeah.
not back. So I, like, really regret not taking the time to, like, really let that moment, like, register with me
Hmm.
because I was just in denial. I was just fully in denial.
Yeah. You never
So
know. I
maybe
mean, they
maybe
literally
the
went back in
series.
time to change the whole fate of the universe.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
true. That's true.
If
We
they
never
want her
know.
back, they could get her back for sure.
For sure. I don't know. Maybe this series will give me the closure that I need. I'm
Maybe.
healing along with Clint Barton is what I'm saying,
Right.
essentially.
Right. Right.
So in the next scene, Clint's like, "This is the plan. I'm gonna go talk with Kazi. You're going to go get the trick arrows." Obviously, when I say you, he's talking to Clint. I mean Kate. Oh my gosh, their names too. The K is happening.
Hmm.
I'm getting mixed up here. So Kate's mission is to go get the trick arrows with the help of the LARPers. He's going to go talk to Kazi. So Kate ends up making a deal with them. They're like, "We're going to help you get the trick arrows as long as something's in it for us." And it's like, you think they would just want to help out of the goodness of their hearts, but these people, they've got an agenda.
I don't know
Uh,
real LARPers as we've talked about on this podcast, but I wonder how if they're actually this selfish. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I hope they're not sitting there being like, "Well, we're not being betrayed well in this show at all."
If you are a LARPer, let us know if you're this selfish.
Oh my God.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh
We're sure you're not. We're sure
boy!
you are great people. We don't
Yeah,
mean
we
to
love you. We
judge,
love you,
but
LARPers.
based off
Um,
this series, we don't know.
mhm,
Jury's still out. So then Clint goes to tell Kazi to tell Maya that she needs to stop hunting down the Ronin because it's just not
mhm.
going to end well for her. And he really just needs this to be done with so he can get back to his family that's not in the city. Um, so we're back at the aunt's apartment where Kate is with the LARPers. She's trying all these different costumes. What's his name?
Grills, grills.
Grills is making snickerdoodle cookies. They're having a blast. While Clint was like, "I just like threatened this guy's life. What are you guys doing here?" But he's able to get the trick arrows in exchange for Clint and Kate promising to get them materials to make costumes. And then Kate's like, "Well, if you're going to make yourselves costumes, I think you should also make me and my pal here some costumes as well." Because she's just hell bent on getting some nice costumes for her and Clint. I mean, I guess I would be too. I feel like part of the reason I would want to be a superhero is for the cute costume. So I totally get where Kate's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, why not rock a costume if you can?
Yeah, this is when I wrote down. So then Laura gets the text Clint and is like, "The tracker and the watch stopped at this place. This is where you need to go get it." And this is when I wrote down, am I supposed to know whose watch this is? Because I simply do not.
No.
Um, so then we have kind of like our last epic chunk. of the episode, and Clint and Kate are formulating a plan as to how they can break into this location, get the watch, and get out. Obviously, Clint is planning for Kate to keep watch from the roof they're on, and Clint to go in and get it. And Kate's like, "That's not going to work." She just marches her way right into the building. She's able to get in just by helping this nice old man with his groceries. She walks into the apartment where these flashing lights are going off. She disables them by shooting these gooey arrows at them. And she finds the watch along with a piece of paper with notes on Clint's family. And Clint says, "Get out of there right now."
Yeah.
Those like lights that went off, those were a silent alarm for a person who's deaf. I almost said death,
Yeah,
but I
no,
corrected myself
the
at the
Grim
last
Reaper, the Grim Reaper will not be making his appearance in this
someone
show.
who's deaf.
Death, Death is
Oh,
hiding out somewhere else. I mean, Death is hanging out with Mephisto and with all the people we theorized
oh
we
my
might get.
god, I can't
With
believe you brought up Mephisto.
she's hanging out with Mephisto, hanging out with what's his name? Oh my god, God, Taylor Johnson. Oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. Aaron Taylor
Pie
Johnson. Yeah,
Pe Pe
Pietro.
Pietro?
Yeah, I'm just talking about all the people we thought we might
Oh,
see in
all the people that
WandaVision.
are
They're all
dead?
hanging out
Tony?
together. Yeah, the Fly that we thought was also Mephisto, he's there too. Yeah, they're all there.
Don't even get me started on the
They're hanging out with
Fly.
Steve
We were
Rogers, who's on
such
the moon.
clowns back then. Look at us
Yeah,
now.
no, Steve
Look at
Rogers,
us.
who's on the
Who would have
moon, is
thought?
there as well. Yeah, yeah.
So before Clint can warn Kate that Maya is in the building, we kind of hear that he's struggling up there. Something is happening to Clint up on that roof. We're not sure what's going on.
Yep.
But he says Maya's here. And she's like, "Yeah, I know. I'm fighting Maya right now." And he goes, "Well, if you're fighting Maya, who the heck am I fighting?" And he's fighting someone who's got a whole ski mask on, some night vision goggles. We don't know who this person is. Dill, did you know who this person was before the reveal?
I knew immediately.
I have some disappointing news. I spoiled this reveal for myself. I mean,
Oh
we
no.
all had a hunch,
You
but
gotta watch at 3 a.m. I'm just
I
telling you,
did
you
the
gotta watch at 3
unthinkable.
a.m.
I honestly spoiled this for myself like 2 weeks ago because
Oh.
I did the unthinkable and I went on IMDb just to check something, and
Oh, okay.
who was listed in the credits? None other than, well, we'll
Florence
get there
Pugh.
when we get
Well,
there.
no,
Dun, dun,
well, we can talk
dun.
about it now. But like I mean, I knew she was gonna be in the
Well, I
show
was
too,
trying to
but
be all
I feel like
dramatic.
we all knew she was gonna be in the show though,
I feel like
right?
we speculated it. I don't think we
Like
knew.
I
Like, it
I
wasn't
think
confirmed.
the fact that Black Widow's post credit was so close to the release of this, like if Black Widow was released last year, maybe I wouldn't have thought about it. But the fact that it was so close to this now, like, and it happened after Falcon and Winter Soldier, where we already kind of knew Valentina, like I was fully expecting her to show up. It was just a matter of when for me. And as soon as I saw
Mm,
someone masked, I was like, "This is gonna be a reveal." I was like, "It's got to be her." Like I really couldn't think of anyone else it would be. Um,
sure.
because I knew she was gonna be in. I figured she would be in the series, so um, I kind of assumed it was her. So now knowing she was gonna be in the series, did you expect this was her when the masked person was fighting? Like, did you think
Well,
it was gonna be her?
yeah,
Okay,
because
yeah.
then I saw Florence Pugh's Instagram,
Okay, so you
and
really spoiled it for yourself.
it was a shot of it's not like I went looking for spoilers. I was just
No.
scrolling and, like, there it was, and I hadn't seen the episode yet, and I saw the shot of Yelena on the roof, and I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, well, this is the roof scene."
Yeah,
I feel like maybe
I don't blame her for doing that though, because I feel like
no,
if
absolutely
like
not.
a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, I'm on this episode of this coming up this Friday." Like I feel like Marvel's the only time where like you're not supposed to say who's in it, and I'm like, at this point, it was people are giving her hate for it. I'm like, if you're giving her hate for it, then why are you so fucking excited when she shows up in the show? If you hate her so much, like it's like you like what is wrong with you that you are like one end of you is like, "Oh, I'm so excited to see her," but the other is like, "Oh, but fuck Florence Pugh for spoiling the thing." I was like, "Who are you?" I
What
don't know.
kind of person are you that you're giving Florence Pugh just the most lovely, charming, like, most unproblematic,
Coolest
like,
badass.
actor I
Yeah,
can think of, right at the
exactly.
top of my head. Like, what, don't give that her hate. She doesn't deserve it.
No.
Give someone who deserves it hate.
Yeah, it's like, ugh. I hate those
So,
people who are just so mad at people for that. I'm like,
no, that was dumb. It was after the episode aired.
yeah,
Sorry. She can
and
Instagram it after
uh,
the episode airs.
yes,
She
and
has full range to do
the
that.
ones who want the most to not be spoiled will either stay up and watch it when it drops or watch it first thing in the morning before they check anything else. Like I know you're a diehard too, but like you fully knew like I'm gonna watch this later today. I can't make the time earlier on, and you just took that risk of going on Instagram. Like that's your risk, and
Yeah.
that's like you can't that was your decision. So like you can't be mad at them, and same people like same with those people. Like they shouldn't just if you're opening Instagram having not watched the episode, fully knowing well that
Yeah.
anyone anywhere could spoil it for you, like that's on you. That's not on
Mhm.
Florence at all. So we stand with
Yeah,
you, Florence Pugh. We love
I
you.
don't blame Flo at all. I
We love
imagine
you,
that if we were friends,
Pew,
I'd call her Flo.
Flo.
Um,
Okay, I'd call her Pew Bear.
oh god.
Because if I knew her,
I
I'd
don't think
hope
you
I'd
wanna
be
put that
also
out there too.
like her best buddy, like cuddle or I don't know. I would love to date you, Florence Pugh, if you're listening. Like let's get dinner.
If God.
Shooting my shot, everyone. Right here.
Alright,
Season
shoot your
finale's
shot
coming up in 2 weeks.
2021.
Like we're shooting my shot.
We're going off the hinges here,
Anyway,
apparently.
get back on the
Uh,
hinges, calls. Go ahead.
no,
Speaking of,
I'm
I should
not
get on Hinge and see if Florence Pugh's on there. Anyway, go ahead.
she's probably
That's
on that
good. Good
celebrity
job.
one. I don't know what it's
They have a
called, though.
celebrity one.
I think you need to be a celebrity, though, to be on
All
it,
right.
but it's like,
Well, people,
how do you, like,
like,
determine
subscribe, comment, get us to our celebrity factor so we can get on the celebrity hinge so we can meet other celebrities. Solely just Florence Pugh. That's all I really care about. I don't even know if she's still dating Zach Braff. Who knows? I don't think so
Oh,
because I haven't
right,
seen much about him.
she's dating that older gentleman from
Yeah, I mean, like,
Scrubs.
no judgment on that, but, like, if
No
you wanna find someone
judgment,
more your age,
but
Florence, like, I'm here, but, I
okay.
love your movies, like, I'll watch Little Women all day long with you if you like that, like,
I'm
anyway,
gonna
keep going,
I'm gonna move on now. So before it is revealed that it is
Oh, man.
Yelena, she throws Kate off the roof. She, hooks a grappling hook type of gadget to her. Also, during all this fighting, all these like, gadgets she's using during the fight are very reminiscent, very familiar to a character we know and love to be Natasha Romanoff.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
mhm,
And so, that kind of gives away who this character might be if you didn't
right.
know who it was before she took off the mask.
Right.
She hooks something onto Kate, hooks it onto the side of the building, throws her off the roof. Clint goes to save her, and she's just suspended midair. And so we have a Vormir Part 2 moment, ladies
The
and gentlemen.
music.
We've got music playing in the
Oh,
background. We've got the end game ambiance happening here.
it
And
it wrecked me. It made me cry. I
yeah,
was like, "Oh, you," because at first I was like, "Are they gonna kill Kate?" I was like, "No, they
no,
can't." That would be, like, the boldest, craziest choice for Marvel ever, and, like,
yeah,
good on them if they were to make a bold choice like that, but you cannot lose Haley Steinfeld in the MCU this early. Like you can't. You
no,
have Florence
absolutely
Pugh and
not.
Haley Steinfeld in the same show and universe. You have to hold on to them for dear life, and
Yeah,
get the most
for
out of them.
sure.
You cannot let them go.
So instead of pulling her up, Clint makes the decision to cut the wire and he says, "Go, get out of here." Like, I promised your mom I would keep you out of danger. And this is the
Hmm.
definition of danger. So
Right.
this is your escape. This is your exit cue now. And so Kate, being Kate, obviously does not leave the scene. She makes her way back up to the roof where she's able to get a nice, good shot in at Maya, but Maya is like a cyborg and is just like rips the air out of her, but realizes that, okay, maybe she's, tougher than she looks. I should probably go get out of here. Maya scurries off before anything bad can happen to her. And we get the big reveal. Clint pulls the mask off and it's Yelena. And Kate does get a clear shot of Yelena while they're fighting, and instead, she does not take it. They share a moment of eye contact, what may be a moment similar to the moment Clint had with Natasha. I don't know. Parallel,
Oh, look at
symbolism,
you! Yeah, that's
metaphors.
good. Yeah.
Who's to
Okay.
say?
Okay.
And so she doesn't take the shot, and Yelena is able to break free. She just dips. And Clint says someone has hired a Black Widow assassin. Things just got more real. Things just got more dangerous. You need to go now. This is done. I have to. We're not partners. I'm going to say this is the classic. I'm going to say some things right now that are going to hurt your feelings because I need to protect you speech. And that is how our episode ends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's deep, it's emotional. I cannot wait to see that, scene, inevitably when Yelena and Clint to kind of have that moment.
Mhm.
Because she, as of now, she's like, "Yeah, you killed my sister," like because that's all she really thinks and knows. Do we think we're gonna see Valentina show up? And by that extension, do we think we're gonna see John Walker show up? What do you think?
It's quite possible, Dill. I feel like before we even get there, everyone is
Sorry, I
having
just
every
yeah,
no, totally love the enthusiasm. We're in theory. I mean, this is the time for theory talk, so
yeah, yeah.
don't
Let's
hold
do it.
back.
Let's do it.
But everyone has the same question, right? Does Clint know who Yelena is? Does he
Yes,
know about Yelena? Does he
I think
know
so.
about the family? You think?
I'd assume so, yeah. Because you got about all the time spent even, like, on Vormir when they're walking for hours and hours and hours, like, I feel like they know he knows about her life. I feel like he has to. I don't know.
Mm.
What do you think?
I don't know. I was honestly trying to, like, think. I was like, "Well, let me think of what I think the answer to this question is," and I'm like, "I don't know what the more interesting route is." I'm like, because Yelena seems to not have known about Clint, because when Valentina shows her the iPad and is like, "This is the man who killed your
Mm,
sister."
mhm.
I feel like if she knew Clint, she would be like, "That's not possible. That was my sister's best
Right.
friend. He would
No, I don't
never
think she
let
knows
anything
him. I
bad
don't
happen."
think she would know
So
him.
she
Yeah.
clearly doesn't know Clint. So that makes me think that maybe Clint doesn't know her because,
Maybe.
they spent
Mm,
childhood together, and then Natasha was a Black Widow for like X amount of time with Yelena, without
yeah.
Yelena, question mark,
Yeah.
and then at
He's on
some point
house arrest
before.
during Infinity War too, so and that's when she goes back after
Yeah,
Black
and that's
Widow,
when
it
she
goes into
goes
Infinity
back.
War. So maybe
I'm
not.
just trying to think, like,
Yeah.
timeline-wise, it's like, when would Clint ever interact with Yelena? Or maybe he knows about
I
Yelena, but
think he would
maybe
know about her, maybe
he
yeah.
doesn't know what she looks like, she doesn't know
And
anything.
it could be one of those things where when he sees her, she looks enough like Natasha for him to be because are they actually sisters or
They're
no?
not sisters,
Oh,
though.
so maybe not then.
They're
Or
not
but maybe he
they're
just
not
knows by the
biological
fighting. Yeah,
sisters.
maybe he knows just by the fighting style. He's like, "Oh shit." Like he's like, "Is this the sister that
Yeah.
I've heard about?" Like I don't know if he knows her picture cuz my thought is like at some point in the end game-ness, either when she gets him from Ronin and as Ronin in Japan and brings him back, and then the process of them going on the trip to Vormir, I gotta think there's enough time there to have this conversation. Probably, like,
To
where
be
have you
like,
been?
"I used to
What
have
have
a
you been up
family."
to? Yeah. I feel like they might have had that conversation at some point. We didn't see it obviously, but like also you got to think the Black Widow movie was probably written way after Endgame anyway, so like the idea of Yelena might have been like oh, let's like add this character and like they just never really thought it through and like that'll just be their way of saying, "Oh yeah, they had that conversation in Endgame." Like I really don't know. I have a feeling he knows who she is and she doesn't know who he is. That's where I'm at. But
Mm,
I don't know.
okay.
Yeah.
I
I
get
mean,
behind that.
yeah, I mean you don't forget that, if she were to tell him, I feel like he wouldn't forget that. He'd always be thinking like, she's got someone out there who's gonna come kick my ass if they find out. But I don't know.
Yeah. I
The other
mean,
question is also how does Julia Louis Dreyfus's character Valentina find out that Hawkeye even killed Black Widow? Because he didn't.
I had that
Like,
same question while I
yeah, like
was, like,
how do they
considering all
know?
of this. I was like,
Yeah.
none of us stopped to
Mhm.
question at Black Widow, like, how does she even know about what happened
Maybe
on
there's a rat.
Vormir?
Maybe there's a rat. Not the rat that set Ant-Man free on the
Don't you
truck,
dare
but
talk ill about that rat.
no,
That rat
I'm talking about a
saved
different rat. No, I'm
half
not
the
talking about that rat.
universe.
I'm talking about maybe someone went to Valentina and was like, "Yo, listen, guess what I heard? Hawkeye and Yelena or Hawkeye and Natasha went to Vormir and only one came back." Just saying. Because Thanos probably didn't tell anyone that that's how Gamora died. Gamora just never came back. So I think Hawkeye is literally the only person who knows what went down. So maybe someone like got sus of him and snitched him out. Who knows? Maybe it's like Rhodey and like that's gonna be like a big turn in his character. Like I don't know. I think it'd be interesting though if like that could be
You
like a
think
plot point
Rhodey's a
down the line.
snitch?
No, I'm just saying like I'm trying to think of a character that would make sense to maybe snitch because it would propel their arc further. Like I don't think Ant-Man would. I don't think Cap would because he's
No.
kind of out of the picture. Thor wouldn't. Like maybe Thor would. Maybe Thor just mentioned it casually. But then, like, how does it get to Valentina? Like, that's the question. Um,
Do you think Valentina has, like, connection to, like, people who aren't on Earth? You think she has, like, people on, like, other planets that are, like,
I don't
scalping
think
for,
so.
like,
I don't
the
think so.
anti-Avengers?
I don't think so. Maybe,
'Cause that's the
maybe.
only way I could think she would know about Vormir is if she had some connection to, like, maybe Red Skull or something.
Oh, maybe, maybe. I mean, this is stuff that like I really don't even know if Marvel's thought about. And then we'll just start to get answers. Like I could definitely see them like adding a flashback. Maybe that's going to be a huge reveal. Is maybe there will be a scene of a flashback with Scarlet that we've never seen before of her and Jeremy Renner's characters. You know, talking about
I
Yelena and
wonder.
like you can never know. Maybe she because she wasn't on that IMDb. I hope, and if she was, don't spoil it. But
Oh, I didn't
that'd be
I
interesting.
s
You know,
I only saw Florence Pugh and then I stopped looking because I was
hmm
like, "I don't wanna know anything else."
right,
And so I, like,
right, right.
immediately exit out.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
was disappointed because I feel
yeah.
like I would've been way more excited for this
Right.
reveal. I feel like I would be like, "Oh my god, is that?" And then I would be like, "It is!" And it would've
I could
been
see, like,
that's all it
Doctor
would've been.
Strange I could see, like, Doctor Strange being the one who's, like, sus about it, and then, like, goes to
You're still
Valentina.
trying to sniff out the rat. I love it.
I don't know.
I could
Maybe there's
see
no rat. Maybe she just knows. Maybe she just has her ways. I don't know.
I don't yeah, I mean, that's gonna have to be the explanation we take. I
Yeah.
wonder how they explained, like, Natasha's death to, like, Earth.
They probably just
Were
said she died in
were they
battle,
she
just like
yeah,
Iron
was
Man. It's
that
just
it? Was that the
she
whole
wasn't
thing?
able to be salvaged maybe, I don't know. Maybe, like, oh, she blew
Oh
up,
my
so we don't
god.
have her body. I like it's morbid to think about, but, like, I don't know. Or maybe because they don't talk about the time heist, but maybe, like, they said they went on, like, an epic mission and she just didn't come back. I don't know. I don't know how they address it. Also, the fact that, like, she all and Hawkeye are more of, like, the low key superheroes. Maybe everyone was just so focused on Iron Man, they didn't even bother to really ask about Black Widow, and that's what makes her story so sad is because like, that was her family. There was no other family, even though we now know there was. Um, any
Yeah.
other theories about what we might get in the future? I know we said we'd talk about something. Oh, let's talk about Kingpin. I won't do one of those little like funny, silly little Kingpin pin word plays because I don't know how many other things I could use pin for. But
Gotcha.
you mentioned it could be Vera Farmiga's character herself. I think that'd be an interesting choice. The only thing is this week, Kevin Feige in interviews for a movie that's coming out soon. I think maybe Thursday. I don't know. He mentioned that he was, that Charlie, if Daredevil, if Matt Murdock appears in the MCU, it will be played by Charlie Cox, who played him in the series. And then
Hmm.
Vincent D'Onofrio, who played Kingpin in the Daredevil series, retweeted and said, like, good for Charlie. He's an amazing actor. He deserves to be this role and keep playing this role. And, like, I'm excited to see him down the line in the MCU. Which makes me think like Vincent D'Onofrio is still on the radar of like he's still in the MCU verse because a lot of actors would probably just be like, got my paycheck, move on to the next thing. But he was so quick to retweet that and talk about that. I'm wondering if he's gonna be in the show. And I said that before. I thought his laugh was Vincent D'Onofrio, the uncle's laugh. Um, but maybe that's also like a bait and switch type thing. Maybe that's like an Evan Peters thing where he shows up just as another character, but she's the real Kingpin. I don't know. Sorry, I got you with the Ralph Boner there. I'm sorry.
I can't.
But yeah, like I really don't know. I'm leaning toward maybe Vincent Don. If Charlie Cox is coming back as Daredevil, I have a feeling we could see Vincent D'Onofrio coming back as Kingpin because like at this point they're very much fine now, kind of crossing over universes. Um, especially bringing in the Spider-Man villains like Alfred Molina's Doc Ock and Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. It's like they have the ability now to bring in other actors from other properties, just like Ivan Peters. I'm not going to say his name in American because I don't want to piss you off again, but as Quicksilver, Ivan Peters, or Evan Peters. But so I I knew you weren't getting
Gotcha.
the joke, so I just had to
I
say it.
was like,
Mhm.
"Who?"
But like we've seen Evan Peters, we've seen now we're gonna see Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, and maybe some others who fucking knows. And then obviously Charlie Cox now confirmed. So like I really do think Kevin Feige's at the point where he's like, I don't need my movies to just be standalone. Like now we can bring other people in from other things, which also begs the question of like maybe they'll get like the old Fantastic Four actors back. Like who knows? I mean, everyone wants Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, but maybe they're gonna just say, "Hey, Jessica Alba, want another go at it?" I don't know. Hey, Chris Evans, you want to be the Human Torch?
Yeah,
Like
I was gonna
who
say, I'm like,
knows?
There's no way he won't go back to Cap. There's no
hmm
way he's going back to Johnny Storm.
Yeah, I mean that would be funny though. They got him for
So,
free, guys. So I
basically
don't know.
what you're saying, Dill, is that we need to watch Daredevil?
Basically, what I'm saying is I think we should watch Daredevil. I think we should find a stretch where, like, you know what? Maybe what we do is we watch, because
I think
Daredevil
we
will
should
watch,
just watch the whole thing and
and
then
then
just
once
talk
we've both
about what
finished
we
it,
liked.
yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to like meet a quota of like we have to watch all these seasons by then. Why don't we just like on our own just leisurely watch it, and then
Yeah.
once we get to a point where there's nothing really going on in the week, we've already done a trivia match, we've already done a recap on the movie that came out. There's no show currently going on. Then we can maybe do an episode just talking about Daredevil because I've been wanting to watch it for so long. And so many people rave about it, so I'm really excited to check it out. But I have never seen it, just because
Are they
I've
still
been told
making
it's not canon.
episodes?
No, no, no. That all ended once Disney Plus started because they were like, we're doing series now on Disney Plus and they're going to be MCU canon, and all the Netflix shows are not canon. So like Jessica
Mm,
Jones, Iron Fist, there's another one, Luke Cage, like all that stuff is not canon. But it sounds like they
gotcha.
are still using the casting choices because they're brilliant casting choices. I love those actors, so like why not? We can still say they're not canon, but that doesn't mean we have to recast them in the MCU. Just like maybe they'll say, "Hey, Hugh Jackman, you want to be Wolverine?" I don't think that'll happen, but anything like that, like you could easily keep some of those younger X-Men from the Origins trilogy. You could keep Michael Fassbender as Magneto if you really wanted to, because Magneto is older, as we know. Like he can get older. Same as Professor
Mhm.
X, James McAvoy. Like you might not even need a recast if you revamp X-Men. So but yes, I think we should watch Daredevil on our own time, and then once we both finish it and we have an episode free, we can just talk about it then. Sound
I
good?
agree.
Cool.
Do you think Kevin Feige is, like, really the idea man, or do you think he's like the wizard from Wizard of Oz, and there's, like, a man behind the curtain?
No, I think he's the guy because I
You
just
think he's the guy that's like,
yeah, because
let's do
he
this?
every big news announcement that has come out about anything has been from him. I mean, yeah, maybe not, maybe because he is a good spokesperson. I have no idea. Um, but that's a good point.
I don't
Who
know. I'm
knows?
just, like, thinking about all those, like, poor, like, people, like, that are, like, secretly pulling the curtain, pulling the
Hmm.
strings behind the curtain, and he's just, like, the big head, it's smoke and mirrors being like,
No.
"Yeah, I'm running this ship."
Yeah, which is funny because Loki did exactly that in
That's
that
like someone's
show.
villain origin story is
The
working for Kevin
timekeepers.
Feige.
Kevin Feige is just one of the timekeepers, aka he is nothing. Anyway,
So the
uh,
timekeepers are the only people that know about the time heist. I'm, like, really talking about Endgame a lot, but, like, this
well, this
series is
brings up a lot
bringing it
of
out of
questions.
me.
Yeah, I mean this series, honestly, I did not expect to be theorizing this much about it. You know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
thinking about other things, but it really has brought up a lot. And like I'm enjoying it. I really am. I think episode 3 is still like the pinnacle. Like that was a
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic episode. This one, I feel like Maya kind of was an afterthought, like because I think it was just
Mhm.
trying to set up the introduction of Yelena, who's going to kind of take over as the main villain, and then they're going to let Maya be just in her own series and kind of have that be her.
And
um
we're still waiting for, like, the uncle to make the appearance. I thought the main villain was, like, gonna be him.
Well, that's who I think the Kingpin is, That's who I thought Vincent
Sure,
D'Onofrio's
sure, sure,
Kingpin
sure.
is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have the mother and Jack to figure out. We've got this mysterious uncle. We've got Maya's storyline, whatever it may be, the introduction of Yelena's storyline because she hasn't even spoken yet. And then of
Mhm.
course Kate, and then Clint getting home for Christmas, and then this freaking dog who was the cutest thing in the world was one little eye. Like
Who
I'm
better
hoping he
make
gets a
it to
moment
the
too.
end of this series
I
intact.
would I if we're gambling right now, I think there's a better chance we lose Hawkeye and Kate before we lose that dog.
You
Like
think?
I would put
Okay, I like
money.
those odds.
I would put $100. I'll bet you right now. If the dog dies, I'll give you a
I
hundred
can't.
bucks.
Oh, okay. But if the dog doesn't die, I owe you $100 still. I
No,
don't
no, no,
have
no,
a
no, no,
hundred
no, no, no.
bucks.
I'm just saying I'm that confident that if like I'm wrong, I will give you $100 because like I
Okay.
fully believe that dog is fine, and
I
that
mean, I've
dog.
never wanted to not receive $100 more in my life because I want this
So now
dog to
you've got to
make it.
root for this dog to die though now
No,
because
I'm
you want your
absolutely
100 bucks.
not. I'm absolutely not. I would
No, I know.
never.
I put you in a rock and a hard place. So, if the dog somehow does pass away, which I don't think will ever happen, because if they were to kill an animal in this, like Marvel sugarcoats enough, there's no, sex scenes except for Eternals. Like, there's no profanity, but
Spicy.
you add a dog death, like that would be like bold for Marvel. I just don't see them taking that risk. Why? Why? There's no need. You've already killed a Vision. You've already killed a Yondu. Don't kill us more. Groot was bad enough. And we already might lose Rocket in the next one. Like, I don't want to have to see that. No,
What?
I'm just saying because I assume someone's gonna bite the dust, and there's been a theory that every Guardians movie, the color of the font is the person who dies. So the first Guardians movie, it was like a brownish font because Groot dies. The second one is all bluish font because Yondu dies, and this third one is like a gray one with some scratch marks. So everyone thinks it's gonna be Rocket. That's just a theory. I don't think it will because the title logo came out before James Gunn even started writing the script. So I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a coincidence. Um,
I
but
won't be able to deal with that.
yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. And if that is the case, if that is the thing with the titles, then I feel so bad that I just spoiled Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which has not even gone into production yet. So,
There's no
um,
way. Someone else has to die. Drax.
yeah, maybe Oh, stop. If you
No, I
won't
know
see
he's
me
your
break down
favorite.
on the podcast, Drax will go. But yeah, we talked a lot
Maybe
about
it'll
this,
be
a lot about
Nebula.
Hawkeye. Maybe it'll be Nebula. But again, like, can
I
she
hope not.
die? Yeah, I guess she can die.
I
Yeah.
I I think
I
you
mean,
could
she
kill a
killed her other
robot.
self.
Vision's
Yeah.
dead.
No, she killed herself already. Like, not killed herself, but killed the old version of her, remember?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I guess she
yeah.
is dieable. So we've seen her die, so she's off the table. So we've seen Gamora die. Look, listen to this. We've seen Gamora, Groot, and Nebula all die. And Star Lord and Drax got whisked away. The only one we haven't seen die in any shape or form is Rocket.
It can't be him. Do not touch a hair on his head.
I'm just
I
messing.
can't deal with it. I don't think they would kill a member of that duo anymore. Like, that duo's been through enough. I
Hmm.
don't see a purpose in his death. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, and I don't know how old raccoons live, but like I would love to see like a movie come out 10 years from now where Rocket is just this old wise, like kind of like Shifu from Kung Fu Panda, just kind of like this old wise raccoon who's like, "Hey kids,
Like a long,
back when I
skinny
was a
token.
guardian." Yeah, he's like, I was the coolest thing since sliced bread. I don't know. Any other theories before we plug not just our social media, but an exciting announcement for the podcast?
Can I just say something that's been bothering me?
I mean, it is a podcast, so you can say literally anything.
It's about the movie that we don't wanna discuss, so if you
Okay.
don't wanna hear it, I won't say it.
I mean, if it's anything speculation wise, I don't think we should say it. Just because if it is true, because enough people have seen, I think critic screeners saw, which I will say, whoever spoiled Harry Styles in Eternals ruined it for everyone because now critics are only able to see 40 minutes of the movie. So all of the reviews that they have to write to help their own businesses to make money, the YouTubers who will YouTube reviewing Spider-Man that have to do it before it comes out because they want to get the views to get the money, have to only judge it off a 40-minute movie, which I think is so sad. And I feel bad for those critics because their livelihood is based on watching movies and reviewing them. How do you review a movie that's you're only being shown 40 minutes of? Anyway, the guy who spoiled Harry Styles ruined that for everyone, so he should be ashamed. Anyway, what were you gonna say about it, Spider-Man?
Well, it's kinda like a speculation.
Let's just text about it because I really don't want to like put anything out there if it is true. Um, um
It's really not that big a deal. I feel like I could just
okay,
say it.
okay.
I'm just okay.
I'll edit it out if it's too much.
Okay, fine. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I don't even have to address who I'm talking about at this point. But
Yes, you're
if
talking about
they're
Ned.
in if they're in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
if the 2 characters that we're all speculating are in the movie, I honestly just hope at this point, like, it's literally like a 30-second end credit scene where they're both in, like, their perspective universes, and they kind of both just, like, look up from, like, their spidey senses or something and be like, "Huh, that was weird." And then it just, like, cuts to black or something. Like, I think that
Mm-hmm.
would be so great. If it was just something so minimal, just like, "Did you hear something?" And then they just go back to doing whatever they're doing.
I'll be honest, that would be
I would
really
love
funny.
that.
And
I would
or
honestly,
the
like,
or the
chuckle a
Spider-Man
lot.
pointing meme. You have a scene with the three of them doing the pointing meme, like just meeting up for like I don't know what they're gonna. I don't want to speculate much, but like it would be very interesting to see if it doesn't happen, how everyone will react to it. Are people gonna like shit on it because they're not there? Are they gonna shit on it because they were there and nothing surprised them, so they feel let down by the experience? Because I feel like it's gonna be hard to please either way. I really think it is. Because
I'm
if they're
going
in
to
it,
be
people are gonna
happy.
be like, "Oh, the surprise was ruined. I felt nothing." If they aren't, people are gonna be like, "Well, you led us on," and it's like, "No, they didn't. They're not in the
No,
trailers."
you just got your expectations up, my
No.
guy.
I mean, the
Like
fact that we're getting a Sinister Six movie is the coolest thing in the world, and I don't think people are giving that enough credit. The fact that
mhm,
I know we didn't say we wouldn't talk about it, but I'm just getting it on my soapbox now. Like the fact that we're getting Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, and Jamie Foxx back, and maybe
mhm.
the other actors, even though it looks like they're just gonna do like the CG versions of Sandman Lizard, and who's gonna be our sixth one, I don't know. If only a movie that had come out in October didn't spoil it in the post credit scene, maybe it would be a fun surprise there. But it's probably gonna be Venom, but I don't
Oh,
know, maybe.
I had to, like, think. I was like,
But also, you never know. Maybe it's like a Civil War type thing. Maybe because we're pretty sure they're talking to Doc Ock at some point earlier in the film. Maybe Doc Ock works with them. Maybe Venom comes in and works with Peter, and there's a villain on villain fight. Who knows? And I think that's what's
"Mm,
so exciting. Like if it's just a movie about the villains of the multiverse, that enough is cool for me. Especially because we've already kind of gotten the crossover things with Spider Verse.
mhm."
So I don't know. That's the last thing I'll say
Yeah.
about it before it comes out because I think, whatever happens, happens.
Into the Spider-Verse is just such a special film that I just hate that people are like, overlooking it with all this No Way
Mhm.
Home
Yeah.
hubba hoopla.
Like, we
So
literally got Nicolas Cage, John Mulaney, and Jake Johnson or Johnston? Johnson?
Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson and Chris Pine all in the same movie. Like, that is already like, how are people not losing their minds over that? Anyway,
Yeah.
Kels, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me at Kelsey A. Kilpatrick on Instagram. You could follow my TikTok. It's Cause13. Or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel,
That's
Cause
right.
Productions.
And you can follow me on all the things down below here on the Dill Pickle Movie Network, and of course, audio if you're listening. Please give us that 5-star review. And you may want to head to the Dill Pickle Movie Network in January because, as I've been announcing, we are kicking off our inaugural MCU Trivia League, which will happen once a month on the channel. What will happen is throughout the year, there will just be smaller trivia matches, but we're going to kick off with a big one, a 5-round match. It will be a belt match for the championship. The winner will be the champ. They will hold a belt, and the losers will be thrown into the pool with all the other people who have expressed interest. And throughout the year, they will all compete in different matches and maybe even a tournament. The person who has the best record, either at the end of the year or halfway through the year, however much interest we gather, they will go up against whoever wins this next match in January as the first ever title match to retain the belt. So if Kelsey wins it, Kelsey's one of the competitors. She will have the belt until someone else challenges her, and maybe she'll win it again and she'll just hold on to it. Maybe someone else will come out of the shadows. We have our 3 competitors. We have them set. One of them is, of course, Kelsey right here. So she will not be obviously calling the match. She has no access to the questions. The questions are locked in a secret file. And I'm only sharing them with my co-host Chad Webb from Picture This, who will be helping me call the match. Very excited to have Chad there. He has experience calling matches, so that'll be a lot of fun. And we just have a good back and forth, which will be a lot of fun because he hates my dad jokes, and I can't wait to make him laugh and roll his eyes when I do make those dad jokes. And competing against Kelsey, we have JD Domash, who is one of my fan league partners on YouTube for other trivia sites. I've never seen him do MCU trivia, but we were in a trivia match once for TMG where we got a question about naming all of the sidekicks in Captain America: The First Avenger, like that whole squad. It was like Bucky and then like all those 6 other guys. We could
The
not
Howling
name.
Commandos.
Yes, we had to name every single one of them. We only got 4 of them. We were missing 2, but like he knows
Ugh,
his stuff just from that. Like he was rattling off 4 names, and I was like, for you to name 4 of the 6, like I'm already
yeah.
impressed. You got a spot. And then the third is Zach Love. Kelsey, you know him. I know him. He is my co-host for Recipe for Reality. So he's a reality TV buff, but on the side he loves watching Harry Potter and of course Marvel. So I put it out there on Twitter. He immediately texted me saying, "Hey, I want in. I want it. I'm hungry for it." And I said, "Great." So the 3 of you are our first competitors. Kelsey, JD, and Zach will be going head to head to head. The winner of the 5 rounds will have the belt. So Kelsey, are you excited? Do you have any smack talk you want to give your competitors before? Because next week we're talking about Spider-Man. The week after we're going to talk about the last 2 episodes of Hawkeye. Then we're off for a little while and we're coming back with the trivia. So do you have any words for your opponents?
I have no smack talk. I am nervous. I'm excited. I definitely have
Mm-hmm.
to study up on some things.
Mm-hmm.
I am, I gotta vicious memory. So that's gonna be my main advantage, I
Okay,
think, here is that I just
cool.
remember random stuff just immediately. So
I was gonna say, Kels, do you have a name you want to use yet? Are you still thinking about it? What do you think?
I'm still thinking about it. I have some
Okay.
things up in the air,
All
but
right. Cool.
hopefully I can announce it for maybe next week.
Cool, cool. So next week, of course, as we said, we will be getting a Spider-Man No Way Home review, and then the week after, we will be talking about the last 2 episodes of Hawkeye. We'll talk about it in one because it'll probably be one of those things where the last one ends in a cliffhanger, and then or the fifth one ends in a cliffhanger, and the sixth one is a great finale. So it'll be cool to talk about them as once, and then we're off for the rest of the year, enjoying the holiday. So I'm so very excited to talk about the new movie coming out this Thursday. That isn't Nightmare Alley, even though you should see that, and is not Red Rocket, even though you should see that. But that other third release that's coming out, I can't remember the name of it, even though I've said it already twice on the podcast. But thank you guys for watching. Tune in next time, and we'll see you in January for some trivia. Kels, can't wait to see you compete in that. It's going to be fun. 5 rounds. It's going down. See you guys next time.